Hello, today I'm doing something a little different. Very excited. I have asked my patrons over on Patreon, always the link is in the description box below. I've asked them to pick a number between 1 and 166. I didn't tell them what's going on, but I'm going to be picking them a book from my shelves. We've got my books that I want to read this year based on like my favorite booktubers books from last year. We've got some arcs over here. We've got my current TBR, my summer TBR, and then the rest is all contemporary. Because as you can see over here, holy man, things are happening. I'm doing quite a bit of work. I'm moving libraries. So this is the bookcase that we're working with. I'm going to be going and counting the books, and I'm going to be doing like a blind book recommendation. And I'm going to do my best to sell this book to whoever, to them, maybe to you, who knows? So let's see who's up first. Let's ignore the bangs. They don't know what they want. So my patrons came in and delivered. I have so many books in front of me. So let's dive into the random Rex. We're trying it a little differently today. When I was really little, my mom died really suddenly, and it devastated me, and it still devastates me. But like a stand-in mom who was Black stepped in, and I love her so completely. And unfortunately, some racists in my small town got her in a lot of trouble, and I had to break her out of prison, and we had to run away. Dawn, if that sounds interesting to you, you'll like The Secret Life of Bees by Sue Monk Kidd. I really thought that I was on a break with my boyfriend. He left really suddenly, and I've been really sad without him. So I'm having sex with random guys, and they're not really treating me well. And I'm starting to wonder and ask myself, why? Why am I doing this? And what do I deserve? If that sounds good to you, Tara, Queenie is your gal. I live a small, quiet, but proper life in the English countryside. I do things by decorum, but I have really been struggling since my brother passed away. But I do find a little bit of friendship and hope maybe when I pop over to this little shop owned by a Pakistani woman. She understands loss the way that I do. Angie, if that sounds good to you, you might like Major Pettigrew's Last Stand. My best friend and I are going back to school. We're going into 5th grade, and it should be exciting, but our classmates keep being murdered. Sarah C., if that sounds good to you, you might enjoy Leaving Atlanta. Life changes in a major way. I used to be really wealthy, and now in my old age, I'm actually quite poor. And I'm still struggling with the fact that my sister died suddenly. She literally drove off a bridge like 10 days after the war ended. Lindsay B., if that sounds interesting to you, you might enjoy The Blind Assassin. So my friends and I are thrill seekers. We love to get scared and scare each other, but we decided, one of our friends was like getting married, and we decided, wouldn't it be great to have the wedding reception at this like haunted house? It really was haunted, and an old bride was there ready to take us all down. Ruth G., if that sounds good, you might enjoy Nothing But Blackened Teeth. This one is coming out in October though, so sorry about that. I will never forget Marie. When I was young, just coming up in my career as a detective, I was given this case of 10-year-old Marie. She was a Black young girl, and she was brutally murdered, and it was up to me to find her killer. Sheila, if that sounds interesting to you, this is a nonfiction book called The Rope, a true story of murder, heroism, and the dawn of the NAACP. When I was 11, I had really bad asthma. I really struggled with that. And I also struggled with the fact that my brother was convicted of murder and was on the run. And I had to go with my dad and we had to track him down. Laura, if that sounds interesting to you, you might like Peace Like a River. Even though men throughout, the centuries have tried to control us, have tried to make us small, women are pretty amazing. And when we band together, we can rise above it and create our own lives and our own choices. Crystal, if that sounds interesting to you, you might enjoy The Bass Rock. It spans 3 different centuries, maybe even more, and 3 different women. Literally the worst things that could happen have happened to me. My wife died. My shop has been broken into and its prized possession has been completely stolen away, and life could not get better. I don't want to see family. I don't want to see friends. So I was kind of surprised when a very small package landed on my door and changed my entire perspective. Chantal A, if that sounds interesting to you, you might enjoy The Storied Life of A.J. Vickery. I was just diagnosed with breast cancer, and I feel like that has brought out a lot of things I've tried to keep hidden away. And I needed a friend, and my best friend was there for me. Even though she had her own stuff to deal with, she was right there by my side. Yan, if that sounds interesting to you, you might enjoy Good Harbor. When I was little, my mom had to work during the summer when I was off school, and my sister and I used to hang out with this man who was he was a fun guy. He took us on little road trips, and he was really our babysitter. And I just recently found out that he was a serial killer. Lisa V, if that sounds interesting to you, this is a true crime book. It's called The Babysitter, My Summers with a Serial Killer. I can't believe that one. My daily commute was really kind of boring. I'd hop on a ferry and just sit there, chat with my neighbors, and then go to work and come back, and that was it until my neighbor just stopped showing up on the ferry, and it turned out that he died. And then the police are thinking that I had something to do with it. Chelsea, if that sounds interesting to you, you might enjoy The Other Passenger. This is my 4th school in 6 years, and I really, really just need a friend. And I think I found one in this popular girl in my class, and she seems so great. But there's definitely a little boy who hates me and is ready to bring this friendship to a halting end. Lindsay A, if that sounds good, you might enjoy New Boy by Tracy Chevalier. I have a twin, and my sister and I grew up in this really kind of strange community, and we decided to run away when we were about 16, and she left me. She left me and started a whole new life, and I've not seen her in years, and I miss her. I'm mad at her. If that sounds good to you, Melanie M, you might enjoy The Vanishing Half by Britt Bennett. In my early 20s, I went to a party with my sister and some of her friends, and we all had a little bit to drink, like you do, and I got separated from my sister, and I was found by a dumpster, and I was found raped by a guy who didn't really serve much time in any way, shape, or form for what he did to me. Jessica, if that sounds good to you, this is Know My Name, Chanel Miller's memoir. My university friends and I decided to rent this little place for New Year's to celebrate New Year's together. Unfortunately, one of them died, and one of the people that was my dear friend murdered them. Mackenzie, if that sounds interesting to you, you might enjoy The Hunting Party by Lucy Foley. 12 years ago, I met the sweetest boy. He wrote 4 words to me on a piece of paper that like just filled my heart. He said, "I love your laugh." Totally innocent, but now he's my boss and he doesn't remember me. Debbie P, if that sounds interesting, you might enjoy Don't You Forget About Me by Mari McFarlane. When I was 30 years old, I was sentenced to house arrest and I had to live out many years in this hotel, which sounds really great, but it was also a time of reckoning and major change in my country. And I only had the people living in this hotel with me to console me and to have conversations with. It was a very strange time. Natalie, if this sounds good to you, you might enjoy A Gentleman in Moscow. When I had a newborn son, I was exhausted, as you can imagine. And so my husband and I decided to get a nanny, and we hired a black nanny, and she changed my life. I loved her, and she died in childbirth, and I decided to adopt her child. Annie, if that sounds interesting to you, you might enjoy That Kind of Mother. And those were all of the recommendations. It was really fun to come up with these scenarios and pretend that I was in them. I saw this over on TikTok, and I'm trying to find out who it was on TikTok that did this like this, instead of describing it, like imposing yourself into the storyline. So much fun. Let me know in the comments below if you enjoyed it, and if you'd like me to do this for you guys as well, and not only my patrons. I'd love to know what you think, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye guys.